What would you do if you had a dream but nothing else? No money, no home, and no one telling you it's possible. That was Tyler Perry in the early 90s. Before the billion-dollar studios, the hit plays, and the Madea movies, he was living in his car, wondering if he'd made the biggest mistake of his life. But instead of giving up, he kept going, even when the world told him no. Today, we're walking through the incredible story of how a man who once slept in parking lots built his own Hollywood empire, proving that the lowest points in life can be the start of something legendary. Tyler Perry was born Emmett Perry Jr. in 1969 in New Orleans, and his childhood was anything but easy. He grew up in a household marked by abuse from his father, which left deep emotional scars. But even then, he found ways to cope, writing in journals and imagining different lives for himself. At 16, he legally changed his name to distance himself from his father's legacy. Those early struggles shaped the themes he would later explore in his plays and films: resilience, faith, and the idea that you can rise above where you come from. It wasn't an easy beginning, but it planted the seeds for the storyteller he would become. In his early 20s, Perry was working odd jobs when he saw something on TV that changed his life. Oprah Winfrey was talking about how writing could be a form of healing. Something clicked. Perry started pouring his own experiences into letters to himself, using them to process his pain. Those letters eventually became the foundation for his first play. Oprah's words didn't just inspire him, they gave him a direction. He realized he could turn his personal struggles into something powerful, something that could connect with others. It was the spark that set him on his path, even though that path would turn out to be far from smooth. In 1992, Perry used his life savings, about $12,000, to produce his first play, I Know I've Been Changed. He poured his heart into it, but when opening night came, almost no one showed up. The play closed quickly. Perry was left broke and discouraged. For most people, that might have been the end of the dream, but Perry refused to quit. He kept rewriting the script, determined to make it work. That failure didn't just test him, it forced him to dig deeper, to figure out how to connect with an audience. Little did he know, the same play would one day change everything for him. After the flop of his first play, Perry hit rock bottom. He couldn't pay his rent and ended up living in his car in Atlanta for several months. He took on odd jobs to survive, waiting tables, working at hotels, but every spare dollar went into funding new performances of his play. During those nights sleeping in the back seat, Perry could have walked away from it all, but he held on to one unshakable belief: that his story mattered and people needed to hear it. That stubborn faith kept him going through one of the darkest periods of his life. In 1998, after years of rewrites and small productions, Perry finally had his moment. He staged I Know I've Been Changed again, and this time the right audience showed up. Word spread fast. People connected deeply with the themes of forgiveness, family, and faith. The play became a hit, selling out theaters and launching Perry into a new phase of his career. This wasn't just success, it was validation after years of being told no. For Perry, it proved that his voice had a place in the entertainment world, and he wasn't about to let that momentum slip away. Perry's plays weren't just entertainment, they were events. He toured across the U.S., often in churches and community centers, reaching audiences mainstream theater often ignored. His stories spoke directly to the African American community, tackling real-life issues with humor, honesty, and hope. People didn't just watch his shows, they brought their families, spread the word, and came back for more. By the early 2000s, Perry had built a dedicated fan base that would follow him into any new project. He didn't just have an audience, he had a community that trusted him to tell stories that felt real. One of Perry's biggest breakthroughs came when he created Mabel Madea Simmons, the tough, no-nonsense grandmother inspired by women in his life. Madea quickly became the heart of his plays, delivering wisdom with a side of sass. Audiences couldn't get enough of her, and Perry, playing the role himself, turned her into a cultural icon. Madea wasn't just funny, she was relatable, reminding people of family members they knew and loved. This character became a cornerstone of Perry's brand, helping him bridge theater, film, and eventually television in a way few creators ever have. By 2005, Perry's success in theater was impossible for Hollywood to ignore. He adapted Diary of a Mad Black Woman into a film, and despite mixed reviews from critics, audiences flocked to see it. The movie made over $50 million on a modest budget, proving Perry could turn stage success into box office gold. More films followed, each tapping into the same loyal audience that had supported him from the start. While critics sometimes dismissed his work, Perry knew who he was making it for, and his fans kept showing up in huge numbers. In 2008, Perry made a move that would change the game. He opened Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. It was one of the largest film production facilities in the country, and he owned it outright. This wasn't just about making movies. It was about creating opportunities, especially for underrepresented voices in the industry. By controlling his own studio, Perry didn't have to answer to Hollywood gatekeepers. He could tell the stories he wanted to tell on his terms and bring others along for the ride. It was a power move that cemented his place as more than just a filmmaker. He was now a mogul. Over the years, Perry's empire grew to include dozens of films, TV shows like House of Pain, and stage plays that continued to draw crowds. In 2019, Forbes declared him a billionaire, a milestone that reflected not just financial success, but years of perseverance. Perry has said that money was never the goal. It was about freedom. And with his wealth and influence, he's been able to fund charities, provide scholarships, and even cover funeral costs for strangers. His journey from living in a car to building a billion-dollar business is more than just rags to riches. It's proof of what's possible with persistence. Despite his success, Perry has never forgotten where he came from. He's donated millions to disaster relief efforts, built a shelter for homeless women and children, and personally helped individuals facing hardships. In 2020, during the pandemic, he paid grocery bills for seniors at dozens of stores across the country. For Perry, giving back isn't just charity, it's a responsibility. He knows what it's like to have nothing, and he uses his platform to make sure others have a chance to rise, just like he did. Tyler Perry's journey is proof that your lowest point doesn't have to be your last point. He turned rejection into motivation, homelessness into a stepping stone, and personal pain into stories that have touched millions. His career is a masterclass in resilience, showing that sometimes the only thing standing between failure and success is refusing to quit. Today, Perry isn't just a filmmaker, he's an institution. And if his story tells us anything, it's that no dream is too big if you're willing to work for it, no matter where you start. Tyler Perry went from sleeping in his car to owning one of the biggest studios in the world. He's living proof that success isn't about where you start. It's about how far you're willing to go. His story is a reminder that resilience, faith, and determination can change everything. If this journey inspired you, hit that like button, share it with someone chasing their dream, and subscribe to Behind the Glory. We've got more stories of real people who've turned struggle into success, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.